we don't, but
Well, we can't do anything.
Can you go through the motions and then?
no, but we do need to make a statement for the record.
Well, we gotta open up the meeting.
Well, we can't.
Text Tony?
We can open up the meeting, we just can't take action on any business. So, okay, I'll open up the work session for December 11th? Is the 11th?
Is it? Yes.
2019 for City Council, 5 o'clock. With a roll call, please.
Councilperson Tony Abbott is absent. Councilperson Aaron Cook.
Here.
Councilperson Mel Davis is absent. Councilperson Randy Abner.
Here.
Councilperson Paul Seymour Jr. is absent. City Attorney Del Weldon.
Here.
Mayor Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, the only one piece of business we had to do was additional appropriations, but in lieu of not having a quorum, we will not be able to take action on any of that business. So I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Your Honor, if it pleases the council, I think it would be appropriate this time for the clerk treasurer to make a statement for the record.
Oh, go ahead.
We were advised to go ahead and move forward at least with a statement to this effect on record. To whom it may concern, I wanted to take a moment to break down what is happening with the additional appropriation or proposed ordinance 18-2019 as it was discussed on Monday, December 2nd, 2019 at the advertised public hearing. The following is a breakdown of information for each additional being requested. The additional appropriation needed for the motor vehicle highway and parks and recreation funds are both funds that must have additional appropriations approved by the state of Indiana and the Common Council. The remaining funds only need approval from council to appropriate. The MVH additional of $475,000 is due to maintenance needed on vehicles, specifically the garbage truck at the city garage. These were unforeseen costs. The Parks and Recreation Fund additional is for overage incurred by the Summer Help Program. The Summer Help Program allows young high school and college students to work for the city during their summer break. In both instances, the budgeted amount was short, but council did give approval for the spending in their claim packets throughout the season as these costs were incurred. The NR Fall Fest additional for $78,000 is due to spending for Fall Fest in excess of the budgeted $325,000. Again, council was given this information as the spending was incurred and approved the claims. Both the DUI Operation Pullover and BCC Operation Pullover are amounts obtained via a grant and together total $17,500. This is simply money in and money out. The Municipal Development Fund additional in the amount of $300,000 is for miscellaneous claims that may come in toward the end of the year. This is not an amount that necessarily has any spending tied to it at the moment, but it is an estimated amount if additional invoices come in before December 31st, 2019. This line is used to pay various consultants, such as outside attorneys and financial advisors. To note, this line is not used to pay the city attorney or anyone working in the city attorney's office. The additional needed for the Riverboat Fund totals $1,660,000. $1,500,000 of that is to cover the city employees' health care. The city is self-funded and as such needs additional appropriation to cover this amount towards the end of the year. $100,000 from the Riverboat Fund is needed for fuel expenses to be appropriated. This took place because council did approve the purchase of various vehicles for the city garage that now run on diesel fuel. The switch from regular to diesel incurred unforeseen cost in diesel fuel. $60,000 of this appropriation is to cover expenses incurred from the Winter Wonderland events that are currently taking place. The additional needed for NR police equipment is to cover $2,000 of spending that was incurred for needed police gear. The additional $2,000 is to cover any other unforeseen costs that may be incurred before December 31st, 2019. The additional for the NR Redevelopment Fund is to cover funding agreements that have already been approved by redevelopment. Common Council must appropriate the monies to be spent. The NR Housing Development Grant additional in the amount of $150,000 is to cover grant funds for the ARA grant program. These funds are used to assist low-income residents in making improvements to their homes, such as new water heaters, roofs, or porch repairs. The NR Fire donations for $7,500 is to cover money that has been donated to the fire department. Although this money was donated, it must still be appropriated. The additional needed for the local road and bridges matching grant fund is to cover grant money in the amount of $750,000. The same is true for public facilities grant funds in the amount of $460,000 for the Dearborn Adult Center grant. The amount needed for the donations fund is to cover any additional money the council may want to donate to various organizations before December 31st, 2019. The last amount for $729,760 is to cover the Lawrenceburg Community Center grant project. In total, the additional appropriation amounts to $5,336,760. The Department of Local Government Finance requests that additional appropriations be kept to a minimum. As this is the case, we attempt to do at least 2 additional appropriations per year. Typically, we will do one in June and one in December. This assists in covering funds that council has already spent and making sure there is adequate room to cover additional costs that may be acquired before the December 31st year end. These costs have been presented in our monthly claim packets and have also been noted on our monthly financial report. The report will highlight in yellow line items that will need attention. This is a process that we started last year so that council would not be caught off guard when additional appropriations were needed. These additional appropriations were initiated by the mayor's office, have been reviewed, certified, and advertised by the clerk treasurer's office, and now they will need council approval to be finalized. Council has the authority to go fund by fund, to go line by line in the additional appropriation ordinance and reduce the amount of dollars in each request, but they cannot increase or add additional spending to the ordinance. There is a hard deadline of December 16th, 2019 for this additional appropriation to be passed. Typically, that deadline is December the 14th, but that is on a Saturday, so they moved it out to a Monday. So this year, or at this time, it would be December 16th, 2019 for this additional appropriation to be passed. Cannot be approved after this date per DLGF or the Department of Local Government Finance. Failure to correct the lines can and will result in an audit finding from the State Board of Accounts under the Common Council section of the report year for 2019 when that audit would be finalized, which they are not auditing 2019 because it's not over at this time. But we were advised by one of the auditors to bring this back to City Council again and just try to explain more of what's going on so that we could try to move forward with the additional appropriation. As it stands, some of these lines, of course, will continue to run red since we do not have a quorum tonight. There cannot be a vote, so that means tomorrow's meeting is not needed. And that's it.
Appreciate the information, Richard. That's a lot more than what we've had before. And
We've had this for 8 years, Randy.
well,
Yeah, that's
the
not-
other piece.
Four
didn't-
years, twice a year.
We didn't have this
was
information the
election
other
year.
night. So
Maybe
I don't
that's
wanna
not
hear.
true.
the other night,
I-
we didn't
I-
have any of this information.
This is as much information as you've had for the last 3 years when we've approved appropriations. If you want to ask any additional questions of that, that's why you get your packet on Wednesdays. You can go over to that clerk treasurer's office
We
and ask
didn't
those
get
questions.
notified till Monday that it was there, but that's all right. It's cool.
So, anyway, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
It was never open, was it?
See you, Aaron.
See you, Aaron.
Can't second my own motion, but okay. I guess you can, can't you, Mayor? Okay.